GDC.
All of the game developers were here. Literally.
All of
every
them.
single one of them. From
Not
Poland,
every one of them, because I had recording sessions last week. So don't
They
explain
were
that to me.
doppelgangers. Classic GDC ruse.
All right.
Yep, and we chose to be here instead of then because this is where we wanted to be.
Yeah.
Exactly. Perfect. One thing, the only thing that was at GDC last week, basically, though, was virtual reality. There was some regular games, but a lot of VC capital running around at the moment. A lot of people trying to get investment. And VR is, it's actually coming this year. We've got PlayStation VR, Morpheus, HTC Vive, all coming out this year.
By the way, since I burped, I've got like more burps stuck in me because I like swallowed too much air. That was so good.
That wasn't bad. Right?
That was like the best burp
I bet
it's
if we
ever
slow that
had.
down and pitch shift it, it'd be really good.
That'd be like the
Like a one-up sound.
like the opening of the chest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's a new sword.
Beautiful. God, there is no end to your talent.
No, there's not.
It's incredible.
Nah.
But virtual reality.
So VR, hey?
Virtual reality, it's like playing video games except like that.
Yeah.
It's the future. So the one thing that keeps happening to us on the press side is that like we write about VR. We do videos about VR. We're
Because it's
really
so
excited.
freaking cool.
It's really cool, and like there is a tendency with the press to be very interested about the new, right? Because we're like playing so many games.
Sure.
So like we want like the new thing. So it's interesting, I think, for me anyway, because you have this on one side, you've got all these like really excited people at GDC and press people and developers all talking about this thing, and then you've got this wet fart in the realization of the viewers and readers, which is that like they kind of get that it's perhaps probably maybe going to be this big thing, but there's this kind of lack of interest in it because either they don't have the technology.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's lack of interest. I think it's lack of availability because the masses can't participate in that beautiful thing that all of the reviewers are experiencing. So,
The demo is so essential.
Yeah. Have you guys had
done
a
a
go?
VR demo?
Yeah. At
haven't.
E3 last year, I got to play around with it.
Which one do you know?
Morpheus.
Morpheus.
Okay.
Oh, and then the year before that, I also played with the one over at Sony.
Well, that's
Right.
just not fair.
But
Two and you got none.
I got really like motion sick on that one. I think they were still working it out at
Right,
the time. Yeah.
yeah.
It was
Yes.
like a game where you were on a thing and you were just like rolling down a hill, but it
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
hill roll.
Yeah, hill roll 3.4.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just made me really pukey.
The tech,
by the
so
time.
I mean, the demo is so integral to really getting on board with it. I mean, I haven't seen it either, and I've heard rave reviews, and then I've heard some that are a little underwhelming, and then other people say they get motion sick. So I think it's going to be specific to the person that tries it out. But it's so hard to try and fit people in through a demo line, whether it's a GDC or E3 or something like that. And I think the price point also makes people a little gun shy. I think where it's going to end up eventually, though, is that it's not going to be just games. It's going to be interactive films. It's going to be, it's like all that stuff in Ready Player One.
Right.
Like that is the pipe dream, to be able to hop into your favorite movie at some point or hop into your favorite location, walk around.
Ender's Game.
Yeah, those possibilities,
So
I think,
cool.
make it, you can't avoid the possibilities of that kind of tech.
Yeah.
So
It's funny that the one demo that really like sparked my interest about it more than anything else was one that actually wasn't really video games necessarily. It was the Oculus Touch one, where you are in a space and there's somebody else in another room and you're basically talking to them and like throwing objects and whatnot
Really?
in the virtual space.
Was the other person also on VR?
Yeah, so they were inside in another room holding whatever finger.
Okay, that's pretty
contraption
freaking cool.
Yeah, and it was like waving hands and like high-fiving in a virtual space.
Yeah.
And then after it was over, the gentleman came into the room and we high-fived without thinking about it because we'd been high-fiving in the virtual space, but I'd never actually met this person before.
That's crazy.
But I clearly had, and my brain had decided that I'd met them, and it was like,
And I mean, if you can do that across the world.
right, yeah.
Yeah,
I
there
can
was
imagine.
there was an Oculus demo, I think, at Sony Santa Monica, where you put on the headset with the hand controls, whatever they are, and you were inside of a weightless space station that was floating around either Saturn or the moon or something like that. So you could look out the windows, and it was fully rendered in 1080p or something like that. Frame rate was 120, they said, because it was 60 and 60 in each eye. And he said you would grab onto a part of the space station, and then push yourself like through the station, and that's how you navigated everything. He said after 5 or 10 minutes, he got incredibly queasy just because it was working so well, but it became like second nature. So if that sort of immersion is possible, I think it's incredible.
It's just, I want to experience that. Like, everybody talks about it, and then you can't do it, and it just makes you jealous and bitter.
Yeah.
What's the is it Google Glass where they showed the trailer where you could literally put a TV screen, you're wearing your glasses and you put a TV screen on the wall and you can like zoom and shrink the size
Microsoft's yeah, it's not Google Glass, it's the Microsoft one. What's it
That's
called
it,
again? I
yeah.
forget. Brain farting at the moment.
Yeah,
Sorry, everyone listening on the podcast
that
screaming at it
trailer
right
We're
now.
smart.
It's amazing.
HoloLens,
HoloLens. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that,
Roxanne.
huh?
Yeah.
The
HoloLens.
HoloLens at the Halo at E3 was pretty
Right, yeah,
incredible.
just
still.
quite a small piece. But there you are. That's something that you've had a go of, right? So
Yep.
that you have that sort of.
Yeah, and I
Right.
was really impressed
The
by that.
HoloLens
And I
was
think
really
that's
cool.
only a small.
Yeah,
piece
it's
of
like
it.
this, but the way they set it up at E3, you were in an entire environment that had been decorated, and then so your little picture fit in perfectly with the way the environment had already been done. So like that multi-level of gameplay was really cool.
So it's interesting, right? Because you're talking about that, and you're basically pitching it to me, right?
Right.
And like what you're saying is you've never had VR, but
I
your
forgot I
delta
did
is that
the
like
HoloLens. I
all-
did do that one.
But like all these people telling you about it is what
Yeah.
you've done. So like, is it just a case there where like do Oculus need to just put trucks outside of like universities and just have people put these
Yeah.
things
It
on?
couldn't
like-
hurt.
Right.
It really couldn't hurt because I mean, word of mouth is one thing, but it's kind of like giving a review for a movie that you really want to see, and until you've seen it, reviews are just crap.
Yeah.
You don't know. You could totally disagree.
But then a film ticket only costs like $12, whereas the in for this is going to cost
300,
so
400,
much.
500, 600.
Yeah,
So do you think you'll end up buying one, Laura? Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea which one it might be?
no idea yet. No idea.
Yeah.
I think.
That's a decision you have to make as a couple.
Yeah.
It's like
Rochambeau and that.
I'm
bad
already
boy.
like picturing which room in our house is going to be committed to it.
The VR room.
It'll have to be
Yeah.
padded as we thump into the walls.
Oh my gosh! But there's so many things I want to play already. I mean, I was recording just this week on a VR game from Valve
Wow.
that's releasing on Monday. I know they premiered it at the GDC and they said it went over really well and everything. And even the developers like said they hadn't even gotten much time like actually in the game
Really?
because the headsets are so limited right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's going to be a long wait before we can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, this year is the year where they all come out, but it's probably going to be another couple of years before we have that big mass market like mind share.
Right.
Yeah, I think
about
the
whole
race
thing.
is on. I mean, I've heard rumblings that things are being worked on, but who knows how close they are.
Yeah, guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
waiting
yeah,
game.
yeah.
If you have any thoughts about what virtual reality headset you're going to save up your pretty pennies for, and you're watching this on demand, please put your comments in the comment box below. We'll get in there and have a little chin wag about it. Loads of VR stuff. I always get a laugh when I say chin wag.
I love Chinwag.
Chin wag's great.
It
think
is
just the
great. I'm going to
visualization
want to
of
take it. Yeah.